Okay, this thing is a spacer that goes on the front of the water pump. The fan goes on this side, the water pump goes on this side. The water pump sitting right there. What I'll do is I'll put this onto that, then I'll put the pulley on it, and then I'll, well, no, I won't. I think what I'll do first thing is put the pump on the engine. I will double check, make sure this goes all the way on, because when I took it off, it had about an 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch gap between it and the pump, and the pulley I noticed was also sticking out about that much. So it's going to be important that this piece fits down onto that piece in an appropriate fashion. So I'll put a splash of oil here. Oh yeah, it's going to go in there just fine. So I'll go ahead and get my gasket set up on my motor, and then I'll put this on that. Okay, here's what we got. So if you look at the pulley here, what you should be able to see is that this pulley is about a 1/2 inch shy of where it should be to work on the front pulley, or about a 1/2 inch shy of where it should be to work on the back pulley. It's running actually right in the center. Now there's ways to fix that. I could grind off this big washer piece back here, but it would be hard to grind off the right amount, and it would be a permanent thing, not fixable. Or I could put some washers under this pulley and bring it out some, but you may remember this thing had some pretty questionable threads on the harmonic balancer, and backing it out so it'll have even less threads is probably not the best solution. Another idea would be to take this one and slip it off and put washers underneath it, and I would need about I need a stack of washers about 1/2 inch high times 4, which is doable. Wouldn't be the best solution, because see, this has this little silver ball thing right on the end of it that kind of centers this. It'll still be centered with washers under it. I've actually done that before. Not the best solution, but it's a workable one. Also it's reversible. If I ever want to take the washers out and put it back, I can do that pretty easily. Another option might be, instead of using washers, if I could find some small nuts that would slide over those 4 bolts. That also might work. Each one would need to be 1/2 inch or so. I've got some more pulleys up there, but they are none of them workable for this car. There are 3-prong pulleys up here, and that would be another solution if I had another pulley. It was different for either the top or the bottom. I might could get there that way too, but it's not lined up to be workable either. Now there's a very close distance between these 2 pulleys. Literally. I need to make sure that there's enough clearance between them. Once I get that set up. Right here. See, this edge of this pulley is a little bit taller than this middle part. It might be the easiest way to try to get started. I'm gonna go grab me. So what I figured out is a nut of this size and a washer of this size put together equals the width of the difference in that pulley there. So I'm going to try to buzz the pulley off, slide a nut and a washer underneath each one, and then scooch it back onto there. And then we'll take a look at where we're at and go from there. By the way, I have to put all 4 of them on there at the same time because I can't reach up in there and put them in one at a time. So they all have 4 has to be here before I can put that on. And I'm going to have to kind of thread them all in there, sort of together. Years ago, when I was a much younger fellow, we had a lady pull in our driveway. I don't even remember why she was there, but she was from somewhere out of state. It was Sunday, no parts stores were open. She may have been like a traveling missionary or something, I can't exactly recall. But she pulled in there and her water pump gave out in our driveway as soon as she got there. No way to get parts or anything. Back in them days, things was closed on Sunday. It wasn't no joke. They was closed on Sunday. So me being me, I had a water pump sitting around, and it didn't fit her car, but it was fairly close. I had to do a lot of spacering to get the pulley on the pump I put on there to line up with the pump she had. And I worked on it almost all day, and it worked. We got her fixed and we sent her down the road. That was a job. But I just sort of very thankful that God allowed me to have the skills and the talents to pull that off. Now what I'm about to do next is put the fan on there, and the process of putting the fan on there means that I got to take all 4 bolts out, every washer and every nut. And I have to put that pulley with that fan and then put the whole thing back on there like I just did, except with the fan in place. Now there is an option too that I thought about while I was sitting here. I've got another pump up there with screw-in studs. If I can't get this to work, I could put that other pump with those screw-in studs on it. But what that would mean is that I'd have very little stud to work with to spacer this out. And as it is, well, it's lined up just about perfect. And these bolts that are in there are long enough to handle what I've done. So what I'm going to try to do now is take this off, put that fan on there, and put it all back without losing the cool. There we go. By the way, I did say that I wanted to do this without losing my cool. And I say that for a reason. I see a lot of guys, mostly these days I see this online. I used to see it in person somewhat, who lose their cool, get mad, start cussing, start throwing things, start beating on their car, beating their head against the wall, slamming their fist around, you know, cursing the good Lord and everything else. And basically what that is, that's a failure to control your own emotions, and God gave us the power and the ability to control our emotional status. We get to decide how we want to take things and what kind of mood we want to be in any given situation. It isn't required that you make a big dummy out of yourself when something goes wrong. In fact, if you can not make a big dummy of yourself and keep your cool, it increases the likelihood that you're going to be able to solve the problem and move on with your life and be happy. I used to run a battery. I didn't run it, but I ran groups for a batterer's intervention program. Basically, what that means is I'd go in a room with a bunch of guys who had been arrested for threatening or beating somebody up. Often it's their wives or their kids, and they'd be given a choice. Because these would be serious offenders who had already offended to the point where they were going to go to jail and stay in jail, or they could complete this program. I think they call it they use the phrase anger management, but that's not really what it was, but we called it batterer's intervention. And basically, my job was to go in there with all these big, mean, rough, tough guys and teach them how to slow themselves down, think about what they're doing, and manage their own emotions. We had some pretty good success at that. Anyway, I just got off onto that right there. None of y'all care about that, probably. But I did at the time because I always thought somebody might shoot me. I might get shot, but I didn't. I'm going to call that a success. I'm going to bring you over here and let you see how well that lines up now. And you can see this pulley and this pulley right here, where my finger that is about as close as I can imagine. There's a little wobble in this pulley, but it's very much in line with where it needs to be. That wobble could be that one nut I put under there may not be exactly perfect. It looks a little out of round too. I wonder if that's because it's not on that little front ball or something.